The Titanic Conspiracy, Curse, or Sabotage. On a cold April night in 1912, the mighty RMS Titanic, the unsinkable ship, struck an iceberg and vanished beneath the Atlantic. More than 1,500 lives were lost, making it one of the deadliest maritime disasters in history. That much is fact. But what if the Titanic story is not just about an iceberg? What if behind the official narrative lies a web of hidden conspiracies, curses, and even sabotage? Titanic left Southampton on April 10, 1912, carrying over 2,200 passengers and crew. 4 days later, it hit an iceberg in the North Atlantic and sank in less than 3 hours. The tragedy became a turning point for maritime safety, leading to stricter regulations. Official investigations concluded the ship was traveling too fast, the lookouts were not adequately equipped, and there weren't enough lifeboats. Case closed, or so it seemed. Conspiracy theories begin from the very first. Conspiracy surrounded the Titanic. Some believed the ship was cursed from the start. Others thought it was sabotaged for financial gain, and still others claimed it wasn't even the Titanic at all. 1. The Switch Theory. One of the most persistent conspiracy theories is that the Titanic never sank. According to this theory, White Star Line had two ships, the Titanic and its sister ship, the Olympic. The Olympic had been damaged in a previous accident and was a financial loss. Some claim the company deliberately switched the ships, sending the Olympic out under the Titanic's name, planning an accident to collect insurance money. Supporters point to small design differences in photographs, survivor testimonies that something felt off, and the suspicious financial troubles of White Star Line. Skeptics, however, argue this theory is impossible. Too many details would have exposed the fraud. Still, the idea lingers, especially online. 2. The Cursed Cargo. Another theory claims the Titanic carried a cursed object, the so-called unlucky mummy, an Egyptian artifact rumored to bring death and disaster wherever it traveled. According to legend, the mummy had caused deaths and misfortunes to its previous owners. Some claimed it was secretly on board the Titanic, smuggled as cargo. While historians argue that the artifact is still in the British Museum and never touched the Titanic, the story spread rapidly in the early 20th century, fueled by society's obsession with Egyptology and curses. Conspiracy. Perhaps the most explosive theory involves money and power. On board the Titanic were some of the world's wealthiest men, including John Jacob Astor IV, Benjamin Guggenheim, and Isidor Straus. All three opposed the creation of the U.S. Federal Reserve, a central banking system that would later control American finance. According to this theory, powerful figures who wanted the Federal Reserve established may have ensured their opposition never returned from that voyage. While mainstream historians dismiss this as unfounded, conspiracy theorists highlight the timing. Within a year after the Titanic sank, the Federal Reserve Act was passed in 1913. Coincidence, or something darker? Chernobyl and nuclear shadows. Official story versus rumors. Fast forward to 1986. The world awoke to another disaster, this time not at sea, but at the heart of Soviet Ukraine. On April 26, reactor number 4 at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant exploded, sending radioactive clouds across Europe. The official story, human error and flawed reactor design, caused the meltdown. But almost immediately, alternative theories spread. Theories that paint Chernobyl not as an accident, but as something deeper. A cover-up, an experiment, or even a weapon gone wrong. The official story. According to Soviet reports, the disaster began during a late-night safety test. Operators attempted to simulate a power outage to ensure the reactor could restart safely. Due to poor communication, lack of safety culture, and a flawed RBMK reactor design, the test spiraled out of control. the reactor exploded, releasing massive amounts of radiation. Thousands were exposed, Pripyat was evacuated, and the region remains uninhabitable today. Hidden conspiracies. But many ask, is the safety test explanation really the whole truth? 1. Secret military experiment. Some theorists claim Chernobyl was not just a power plant, but also linked to secret military projects. One rumor suggests that the meltdown was tied to the Duga radar system nearby, nicknamed the Russian woodpecker for its strange radio signals. Conspiracy theories claim the reactor was deliberately pushed to meltdown to mask a military failure or sabotage attempt. Soviet Union delayed admitting the disaster for nearly 36 hours, even after Sweden detected radiation levels. This secrecy fueled speculation. Was the delay about confusion or intentional deception? Survivors recall being told to attend parades and stay calm, while officials already knew the danger. Three, the UFO theory. Yes, even UFOs enter the story. Some eyewitnesses claim they saw strange glowing objects hovering above Reactor 4 on the night of that extraterrestrial observers were either warning humanity or attempting to prevent a greater catastrophe. The human shadow. Beyond the conspiracies, Chernobyl also raises deep questions. How much should citizens trust governments during disasters? How does secrecy magnify fear? And are nuclear accidents truly accidents, or just the tip of a much larger iceberg of geopolitical struggles? The Bermuda Triangle, survivors, and vanished voyages. Few mysteries have captivated the human imagination like the Bermuda Triangle, that stretch of ocean between Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico. Ships vanish, planes disappear, and survivors tell strange tales. Is it just storms and navigation errors, or something far stranger? The legend begins. The Bermuda Triangle gained fame in the 20th century when Flight 19, a group of U.S. Navy bombers, vanished without a trace in 1945. Since then, countless books, documentaries, and stories have turned this area into the ultimate mystery zone. Survivor accounts. Some claim they experienced sudden instrument failures, compasses spinning wildly, clocks malfunctioning, even radios dying. Others describe strange clouds, glowing lights, or walls of fog that seemed unnatural. A few rare survivors report losing hours of time, as if they entered a time warp or dimensional anomaly. While mainstream scientists explain this with magnetism, weather, and human error, the sheer number of similar stories keeps the mystery alive. Theories. Behind the triangle, magnetic anomalies. The area is said to disrupt compasses, though modern science debates this. Atlantis energy crystals. Some believe the lost city of Atlantis lies beneath, sending out mysterious energy. Aliens and portals, a favorite in pop culture, that the triangle is a gateway to another dimension. Human error, plus weather, the most grounded explanation but less exciting for mystery seekers. Why it matters. A primal fear, being lost without explanation. It blends natural danger with supernatural suggestion, a mix that ensures it will never fade from public imagination. The Hindenburg disaster, accident, or cover-up. On May 6, 1937, the majestic German airship LZ-129 Hindenburg burst into flames while attempting to dock in Lakehurst, New Jersey. 36 people died as the sky filled with fire. The shocking footage with the famous cry, "Oh, the humanity," is burned into history. The official story. According to investigations, the fire started when leaking hydrogen gas ignited, likely from static electricity. Airships were already considered risky, and the Hindenburg disaster ended the era of passenger zeppelins forever. Conspiracies and hidden suspicions. But for decades, Alternative theories have circulated. Sabotage. Some argue the Hindenburg was deliberately destroyed. Possible motives: anti-Nazi activists, German rivals, or even U.S. intelligence. Chemical dope. Theory: the airship's outer skin was coated with highly flammable material. Some say this was known but ignored for profit. Cover-up of design flaws. Instead of admitting catastrophic design errors, officials may have framed the accident as unforeseeable. Why it endures. The Hindenburg represents the fragile balance between innovation and risk. Was it hubris, sabotage, or both? It remains a story where trust in technology collides with human suspicion. The Challenger. Explosion, technical failure, or secret sabotage. January 28, 1986. Millions of Americans watched live as the Space Shuttle Challenger broke apart just 73 seconds after liftoff. 7 astronauts, including teacher Krista McAuliffe, weather, allowing hot gases to escape and destroy the shuttle. Engineers had warned of risks, but NASA pressed forward due to political and public pressure. Hidden theories. Corporate and political pressure. Did NASA ignore warnings because of deadlines and media expectations? Some say the disaster was not just an accident, but the result of willful negligence. Sabotage. Speculations. A minority claim external sabotage, though no evidence supports it. Still, the fact that the shuttle disintegrated live on TV gave fuel to endless doubts. Cover up of larger problems. Critics argue NASA downplayed systemic issues with the shuttle program to maintain funding and public trust. The human factor Challenger's legacy shows the danger of groupthink and the suppression of dissenting voices. When engineers were ignored, disaster followed. It raises timeless questions. How often do institutions risk lives to protect their image? Pearl Harbor. Surprise attack or hidden over 2,400 Americans and drawing the United States into World War II. President Franklin D. Roosevelt called it a date which will live in infamy. The official story. Pacific Fleet launched a preemptive strike. Reports suggest broken Japanese codes might have given clues, but officials didn't act quickly enough. Deliberate sacrifice. The most controversial idea that American leaders knowingly let the attack happen, believing the shock would unite the nation for war. Why the theory persists. History, ancient catastrophes, myths, floods, and vanished civilizations. Long before modern disasters like Titanic or Chernobyl, humanity was haunted by ancient catastrophes, floods, fires, earthquakes, and mysterious vanishings that became the foundation of myths. Were these just natural disasters, or are they evidence of forgotten civilizations and hidden histories? Flood myths. Flood myths. American legends of rising seas. Conspiracy theorists argue these stories may not be coincidence. Instead, they could point to a real ancient event, perhaps a sudden climate disaster, comet impact, or even advanced civilizations lost beneath the sea. Atlantis and lost civilizations. The legend of Atlantis, first told by Plato, is central here. Some claim Atlantis was destroyed by a great disaster. earthquakes, floods, or even self-destruction from advanced technology. Modern researchers link Atlantis myths to the eruption of Santorini, Thera, around 1600 BCE, which devastated the Minoan civilization. But others say the truth is much larger, a vanished world, erased by catastrophe, remembered only in fragments of myth, ancient technology suppressed. Some theorists go further, claiming these civilizations were far more advanced than mainstream history allows. Flood myths, then, are not just tales of survival, but cover-ups of erased knowledge. Could ancient disasters have been the result of natural forces or deliberate manipulation of powers we no longer understand? Unnatural weather theories, manipulating hurricanes and storms. In modern times, whispers of weather control fuel endless speculation. Hurricanes, droughts, and earthquakes. Are they purely natural, or could they be influenced by hidden technologies? Research Program, a U.S. research facility in Alaska, designed to study the ionosphere. Conspiracy theories claim it can manipulate storms, cause earthquakes, or even control minds through electromagnetic waves. Cloud seeding, a real technology where planes drop silver iodide into clouds to make it rain. While officially used for agriculture, some suggest it's been weaponized. Directed energy weapons. Theories link strange fire outbreaks or storm paths to secret military technology. Why people believe whenever a massive hurricane devastates a region. Suspicions rise. How could storms be so destructive unless guided? While science rejects these claims, the belief persists, partly because weather already feels uncontrollable, and partly because governments have historically hidden military experiments. Industrial accidents with unexplained causes. Not every disaster is natural. Some strike in factories, plants, and industrial complexes, places where human technology should be controlled. Yet when explosions rot chemical plants or fires sweep through warehouses, people often wonder, accident or something more. Famous examples. Bhopal disaster, 1984. A gas leak in India killed thousands. Officially due to poor maintenance, but theories suggest corporate negligence or sabotage. Texas City disaster, 1947. A ship carrying ammonium nitrate exploded, killing nearly 600. Official story, accident. Alternative whispers, hidden military chemicals gone wrong. Port Chicago explosion, 1944. A massive U.S. Navy munitions blast killed hundreds of sailors. Rumors, unsafe conditions, but also possible secret weapons testing. The hidden factor, industrial disaster, materials mishandled, or with a pot of shadowy experiments disguised as accidents. Some suggest certain accidents were cover stories for testing chemical, biological, or even nuclear technologies. Psychological impact. These events erode trust. If a factory accident can wipe out a city block, what does that say about modern progress? And if secrecy or conspiracy lurks behind them, then our daily lives rest on far shakier ground than we realize. Shadowy experiments. Disguised as disasters throughout history, whispers suggest that some disasters were not accidents at all, but rather covert experiments hidden beneath the smoke of tragedy. Nuclear tests, or accidents. During the Cold War, both the United States and the Soviet Union conducted thousands of nuclear tests. Some accidents at facilities were, according to conspiracy theorists, deliberate experiments on human exposure, later covered up as unfortunate mishaps. Examples: Kishtim disaster, 1957. Explosion released deadly radiation. Officials kept it secret for decades. Some argue it wasn't just negligence, but a deliberate test of containment limits. 3 Mile Island, 1979. The official story is a partial meltdown caused by equipment failure. But some believe the incident allowed hidden monitoring of radiation's psychological impact on nearby populations. Chemical experiments. Factories that suddenly explode or release toxins raise suspicion. Could they have been cover stories for failed nerve agents, biological weapons, or toxic dispersal methods disguised as industrial mishaps? Weather disasters as tests. If HAARP or similar technologies could manipulate weather, then hurricanes and floods might have been used as uncontrolled experiments. Were certain storms allowed to devastate specific regions to observe economic and social collapse? Official science denies this, but conspiracy narratives persist. Why this resonates? Wonder, was this nature or was this a hidden hand experimenting on us all? Comparing official narratives versus hidden truths across Titanic, Chernobyl, Pearl Harbor, and countless others, one theme repeats: the gap between the official story and the whispered alternative. Official narratives, governments, corporations, and institutions usually emphasize unforeseen technical failure, uncontrollable natural forces, isolated mistakes, not systemic flaws. These narratives provide closure, stability, and trust. Hidden truth theories. By contrast, conspiracies emphasize foreknowledge ignored or suppressed, or deliberate sacrifice, hidden technologies, or secret agendas. These theories thrive because they offer meaning in chaos. Instead of random tragedy, there is intent, dark but comprehensible. Case study: Challenger versus Pearl Harbor. Challenger, officially, faulty O-rings. Conspiracies, ignored warnings. Conspiracies, ignored warnings, or deliberate media spectacle gone wrong. Pearl Harbor, officially, surprise attack. Conspiracies, leaders knew but let it happen to sway public opinion. Both share the same structure: a sudden disaster followed by psychological and social impact of disaster. Conspiracies. Why do people cling to alternative explanations of disasters? People saying and unfair. Conspiracies provide a twisted comfort beliefs. Distrust of authority fuels conspiracy growth, especially after governments have been caught lying in the past. Collective trauma. For survivors, conspiracies can be a way to cope with trauma. Believing there was a larger reason, even a sinister one, is sometimes easier than accepting that lives were lost to pure chance. Evolve into an elaborate global theory within hours. Case studies of mass belief, from cults to conspiracies. Throughout history, societies have shown a remarkable tendency to follow charismatic leaders or collective beliefs even when evidence contradicts reality. From cults to disaster conspiracies, human psychology plays a central role. Cults and disaster belief. Cults often teach that external disasters are a result of moral failings, unseen enemies, or cosmic forces. Similarly, conspiracy theorists interpret real disasters, Titanic, Chernobyl, Challenger, intent to chaos. Famous examples: Jonestown Massacre, 1978. Followers believed in absolute loyalty, interpreting external threats as part of a divine narrative. Heaven's Gate, 1997. Members associated comet events with spiritual destiny, blending astronomical phenomena with belief. Disaster conspiracies. Online, modern forums allow millions to participate in reinterpretation of historical tragedies. Social validation strengthens belief. Mechanisms of mass belief. Charismatic authority creates trust that can override belief. Academic studies on groupthink, obedience, and coercion. Psychologists and sociologists have long explored how groups adopt shared misconceptions. Key findings: groupthink coined by Irving Janis. Groupthink occurs when desire for harmony overrides critical evaluation. Evidence: Challenger disaster, ignored warnings. Pearl Harbor intelligence warnings delayed due to bureaucratic conformity. Obedience to authority. Stanley Milgram's experiments showed humans obey authority figures even against personal moral judgment. Implication: when disaster narratives are presented by official sources, citizens may. Narratives can empower skepticism. Coercion and fear. Fear amplifies acceptance of conspiracy. If danger seems imminent, people are more likely to believe hidden threats. Disasters, by definition, create fear, making populations vulnerable to both official explanations and conspiratorial reinterpretations. Closing reflections. Why hidden disasters will always haunt us. Disasters, both natural and human-made, leave lasting psychological, social, creativity, and myth-making. Lessons for society. Transparency reduces speculation, but never eliminates it. Education on critical thinking and history helps discern fact from speculation. Disasters are reminders of both human fragility and resilience. Enduring fascination. From Titanic to Chernobyl, from Bermuda Triangle stories to ancient floods, one thing is clear: hidden disasters capture our imagination because they challenge our understanding of reality. They blend fact, fear, and fiction, and in doing so, they will continue to haunt, educate, and in generations to come.